Welcome back, guys. We're on a daylight here, but we got the old Chevy loaded up. Nothing of any real consequence in here, but we got my smoker. It's an electric smoker, a camp chair, a little bit more gear over there, the wood chips for it, and probably put a couple more things in the bed, but pretty much empty in the scheme of things. Heading to my buddies out of state. This will be the first time this truck has left New York State since I bought my Ford almost 2 years ago. So I'm a little nervous, to be honest. I've swapped the replacement warranty engine since then. Link to that video here. Done a bunch of little odds and ends stuff on it. There's all videos on my channel about that if you're interested. But I think she's ready for this trip. I really want to get to a point with this truck where I feel as though I'm comfortable taking it on these 200 or 300 mile road trips. I don't care to go from here to North Carolina again, 800 miles away. I don't care to tow a big trailer with it or anything like that. I would just like to get it to be that like half a day trip comfortable. We're at 257,909 for miles. I would just love, like I said, to be able to put a 300-400 mile day on the thing, feel comfortable doing it, go a state or two away, come home, at the end of the weekend, and not feel like I'm going to break down. So this is a test run. I am keeping my fingers crossed that this video is either very uneventful or it never gets posted because it's that uneventful. I really hope nothing major breaks. I got tools in case it does. I've got, should have everything I need. I've got friends, on both sides of the trip, home and obviously out there. My buddy has a garage and tools, worst case scenario if I broke something more major. So I'm purposely using this trip as an excuse. I don't have my dog with me. I don't have my girlfriend with me. So the consequences will be lesser if something did happen mechanically. But, still a little bit nerve-wracking. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. Stay tuned. And we are on the road, folks. I am headed to work. So I'll be stopping, doing a full work day, and then driving out to New Hampshire. I waited to start this a little bit for the light to, for the sun to come out a little bit more. I also just forgot to start the camera, so there's that. But we are on the way, and so far so good. Stay tuned. Like I said, I really hope this is a very uneventful video. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We are now headed to New Hampshire. Got done with the work day. Had kind of a long week. I'm a little bit tired. We're juicing up with the monster rehab, folks. Again, hopefully this is uneventful. The roads are a little bit wet, so I'd really like to not have to lay underneath this thing on the cold, wet, hard ground. So, stay tuned. We are now in Vermont. About halfway through, I guess. Yeah, give or take. So far so good. I did notice that I have alternator noise in my back left speaker. I don't know why. I think the back left speaker's going bad, but it's a pretty loud whine if I turn the speakers on. Hear that whistling? I'm purposely modulating it. It's like a noise when you increase, or when you, with the tachometer, right? You increase RPM, there's the word. So, it is what it is. But beautiful, beautiful, beautiful out here. Nice little mid to late fall drive, we could say. It is October 27th when filming this. So, we're a little bit past peak color, especially up here in the mountains. That is quite all right. Still nice out. So, we roll. We're over 258. Kind of excited to see that 260 number. That won't come for a while, though. All right, pray for me. Stay tuned. All right, guys. We got an hour and 10 left. I guess I just checked in at an hour and 33. But this is very important. I got me some protein. I ripped half the label off the Core Power. Not a sponsor or anything. I do like the Core Powers, though. It's kind of a nice filling thing to eat/drink while you're driving and not just eat crappy snacks. Anyway, this isn't a fitness channel, and I'm not that fit. So, the point is, the truck is doing well. Parked at the gas station, gave her a little walk around, really nothing to see, thankfully. And we're rolling. Sun's going down. I will update you when we get there, 48 miles from now. If we get there, I guess, technically. Let's not count our chickens before they hatch. Let's not egg our hatches before they lay, you know what I'm saying? So I've had some road thoughts here about this truck. Now, keep in mind, like I said, I have not driven this on like a more than, say, 40-mile direct drive in 2 years almost. because I've got the new truck and I just have only taken this thing around town. I've driven it a ton, but it's just all around town. You know, my area code, if you will. So one of the things I've noticed, and this is all mountains through Vermont and New Hampshire, this is like nasty terrain, but I kind of took for granted how annoying a 4-speed is even empty. Now don't get me wrong, 4-speed works perfectly fine, like it's good, but I always said to myself, on an empty vehicle, not towing, I'd rather have a 4-speed and not have as many gears to run through versus like a 10-speed. Now, I think a 10-speed's overkill when you're empty most of the time, but I really do think a 6 to an 8-speed is probably ideal for empty driving, because 4 is almost not enough. Like, you still have these big gear jumps, and pulling these 9% grades, 10% grades, 7% grades at times, at like 50, 60 miles an hour, you're kind of in between gears, and you got to shift down to third, but you can't hold overdrive. And if you want to pass somebody, you got to launch the thing into second, and you're turning big RPM. So I actually could see the merit, again, even for driving empty. Now, if I had 410s in this, that would tighten up the ratios, or tighten up the RPM, I should say. Obviously, it wouldn't change it tighten up the overall ratio, but not the transmission ratio. Anyway, that would help. These are the things you notice when you hop back in it. It's almost like I'm able to review my own vehicle from a fresh perspective, like it's its own new thing, which is kind of interesting. We've had a pretty smooth, quiet ride, thankfully, and this Tesla in front of me is absolutely dusting me. So this is a good example, right? 2,500 RPM, plenty of power to waft myself up to speed, but I'm not like keeping up with that Tesla. Obviously, if I wanted to keep up with him, I'd have to drop it in second, and like now I'm in overdrive as it flattens out, which is fine and dandy. But with my Ford, I could just pick the exact ratio. I could be on his bumper, safe distance, pass some cars, do whatever I got to do, and then drop it back into 9th or 10th or whatever gear I want. So, you know, these are just the things that kind of old school technology. New Chevys, baby. That's a cool dealer. Look at that rock wall. I don't know how well you can see it, but that is some nice, still, mirror-like water, man. Beautiful. It is a little bit dark out. Sorry about that. But the good news is we did make it. We were at the friend's house. We got the smoker unloaded, ready for tomorrow, and all is well. So stay tuned for the trip home. I guess if anything happens between now and then somehow, I'll fill you in, but hopefully that doesn't occur. Hello, friends. We are starting the drive home. We had a great weekend. Had a cool little Halloween party, hung out. It's a good time. Met some new people. That's always fun. We're driving back. We're putting on some miles. I just left the house. Nothing's even warmed up yet. Stay tuned. We'll see if the old girl makes it back home. 184 miles to go. Yeah, we'll see. Another thing I've found that I miss in this truck a little bit, taking on a road trip for the first time in a couple of years, is not having a screen. Now, I am not a big screen in vehicles, guys. I don't really care to have anything massive, but having to have your GPS on your phone and switch through your podcast or your music, first world problem, but it is mildly annoying. It's also a little bit harder to see the directions. You can get them pulled up on a screen, in this location of the vehicle, it's a little bit easier to see. So I think I do enjoy the screen with the Android Auto in my Ford more than I realized. The cool thing is, if I want to spend a little bit of money, I could obviously put a screen in this. And if I don't want to spend a lot of money on it, I might even be able to find a used one or a little bit cheaper model that still does give me the basic features I'd want. You gotta be careful with the cheap aftermarket radios, I think, sometimes, because they'll be really, really crappy if you're not careful. But then you can wire a backup camera in, so I'm gonna think about that. But for now, truck's doing good. We push, we roll. So I'm about 57. Okay. Apparently we're stopping very quickly here. I'm about 57 miles away from home, and we have not ran out of gas yet. Getting close, so I'm going to stop at the gas station. This will give us roughly the entire trip. Well, it'll give us 7/8 of the trip of gas, more or less, you know, for fuel economy. But looking pretty good. 306 miles in this tank so far. Probably could really push it and get home if I wanted to, but I don't like to do that. The old 6-liter definitely gets worse mileage than the 5.3. I knew that from the original one. I was curious if the new 6-liter would be better than the previous 6-liter because of, you know, it was running correctly, but probably not. You know, fuel economy on an older vehicle like this, not a lot of things change it all that much. They're a certain amount of aerodynamic. Even the tires being more aggressive or less aggressive doesn't seem to make a huge difference. They just kind of get what they get from what I've found. And yeah, so it is what it is. All right, everyone, we got the gas, and I'm not talking flatulence. I'm talking gasoline, brother, 91 octane for the old 6-liter. As I approach my last 20 miles or so here, 30 miles, kind of reflecting on the trip. Went very well, driving-wise. I mean, when I was there too, but this is about the vehicle. Anyway, so it's just tough for me because I still don't trust this truck. This is a very good test in my opinion. It makes me feel a lot better about it, but I still don't thoroughly trust it again. I don't know if I ever will. If I ever will, it's gonna be a while. A lot of bad things have happened to it over the years, and some of it, you know, not its own fault, some of it its fault, whatever. And I don't know, it just does make a guy nervous to take it long distances, and it's a shame because I love driving this thing. I don't even know why. Like, it does everything worse than my F-250, objectively. It is definitely worse than my car for like that sort of thing. So there's really no reason to own this vehicle, but I just love it. I really do. And I want to be able to take it comfortably 2, 3, 4 hours away at least. Like, that's kind of my goal. I'd like to go, I have friends in Maine, I live in upstate New York. I'd like to be able to take it to them and not feel like I'm putting my girlfriend and my dog and myself in the high potential for a breakdown situation. If I can get to that point with it, I'd be thrilled. I know what you're thinking. You might be thinking this whole video, wow, like you're just being dramatic. Like, this truck is clearly in good shape and well taken care of. It's totally fine. This is what you have to understand, guys. This thing's on engine number 3, transmission number 3, rear end number 2 or 3, transfer case number 2. A lot of work has been done to it. And again, some of this is, you can watch all my old videos. I won't repeat it all here, but call it 50% of it is just wear and tear. 50% of it was freaking bad parts and warranty issues and stuff like that. So, you know, it's just been a lot of churn. And you got to understand, when you take something apart that many times and put it back together, connectors get old, they get worn out, wires get corroded here and there, and all this stuff happens. Pile on 258,000 miles onto that equation. And unfortunately, this truck is probably in like overall worse shape than a lot of vehicles that have had mostly original drivetrains still up to this point, just because it's been so messed with. It caught on fire before. I towed a lot with it. The thing has been through the ringer. And if you think that that doesn't cause issues, it does. It just does. The it's been messed with problem is a real thing. And so the longer I can go in a state in which it's all been in one piece and not messed with, the more reliable it theoretically becomes, because things are more proven. They've kind of been in place longer. It's been less trial and more, you know, testing has been done on it, whatever. But we'll see. I have officially made it back, and yeah, we're good. Nothing broke, which is shocking and I'm very grateful for. Just getting unpacked. I'm gonna go inside and relax for a minute. I almost forgot our final odometer reading is 258, 296, which means we did 387 miles total. 313 of that is on one tank. That tank was 14.9 mpgs. So we'll kind of consider it about 14,915 or so for the entirety of the trip. I think it would have been roughly the same, probably. I just needed a little bit more than one tank, so I don't have that data. But that's where we're at. So I'm pretty happy with that. Unfortunately, that is on 91 octane because this engine does recommend 91, so I do run it. So your cost per mile is not fantastic. It's like 24 cents a mile, give or take. The Ford would have been cheaper. My Camaro even is quite a bit cheaper to drive. So that's a bit of a downer. This thing just doesn't get that good of mileage. You know, big engine, old school technology. It is what it is. I don't care that much. I'm just glad that it made it there safely and reliably. Ooh, that lighting just got terrible. Anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching. God bless America, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.